I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, kidnapped in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama at age 2 from Buckingham Palace. I want to insert this right at the moment first. I just Google for another reason, but they give me the wealth of the royal family. Elizabeth, it said, okay, could be more than $1 trillion. I'm the real monarch, Margaret Ann Windsor, Queen Victoria II, the moment I was born. My children and I have had things done to us because part of my family, and certainly Elizabeth, and all of them have always known that I'm alive. They know what I've been through, the horror. They helped in it some. Elizabeth, her father. There's some of my family that aren't that way, I hope, and I believe that. Some of them have tried to help me. I know that. I have to be redundant here and show a picture. Also, bear with me if you're not able to put it together. I'm trying the best I can over time. This entails my father not taking orders from the global government, the Illuminati. My father's Edward VIII. He was always married to my mom, American school teacher from Madison, Wisconsin, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, Windsor. She was Queen of England. And they took, and I'm talking about the Church of England, Cosmos Lang, Winston Churchill, my own uncle. My father was up against the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the global government that came to power. And listen to this. My father wouldn't go along with being ruled and given orders by the above, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, the Kennedy clan. My mom is Irish, and you got this friggin' Kennedys that everybody loves. By the way, whether you understand it or not, if I can find her picture, well, I can't organize that. They have my money. Excuse me, here's Caroline. Oh, with Obama. By the way, I just uploaded yesterday or the day before a whole bunch of the 300 upper crust in the Illuminati that kidnapped me. The Kennedys were part of it, and Obama. They mentioned him. Of course, Kennedys are the people that kidnapped me. Joe Kennedy was appointed ambassador, and now I'm going to lose it trying to go back and forth here. Anyway, Obama was a part on that list, but most of all, now all of the royal family just about are listed there. I couldn't believe it. It has certainly paid off for these people of the global government who are in power under the United Nations that came into existence when they took down my father. Illegal treaties were formed and signed that allowed the United States to come in, acting as our friend and savior, going to save us. Is this what friends do? In other words, they invaded the UK. They helped take down my father. They certainly kidnapped me and helped in bringing me over here. The Kennedys JFK. His father was ambassador. Roosevelt, the president, appointed him for the very reason. They had to control my father. He's out of control, not for the reason you're told, though. He never married Wallace Simpson, a double did. Now then, if you can bear with me, maybe you can't put it all together, but this is all I can do at the moment. And yesterday, I'm going to jump around again. Yesterday, I put up a video about the Bloomingdale. Well, they get into it too. Bloomingdale tapes. Look that up sometime and see if you can put that together. Wow, that's Ronald Reagan. I'd forgotten about that. That must have been a miss. Me telling it this morning. And now I'm going to get off on something else. The Bloomingdale tapes I've told about, but over time, and Mrs. I can't remember her first name. Alfred Bloomingdale and his wife actually lived in the White House with the Reagans. There is lists before I knew anything about. Later, I'd be flown out to Larry Flint, said he'd be shot. I knew none of that. There was stuff come into play there in Atlanta, out in Marietta, involving Playboy. Some of the good people in this, I don't like pornography, but they're angels to the rest of these people. I'm talking about Hugh Hefner. I'm talking about Larry Flint, who was shot by a program shooter and endorsed me. I was out there. Larry McDonald was special election, the congressman doctor. Um, the plane he was on was supposed to have gone down with him on it, the KAL. I've told all about this, so I'm sorry I won't get anything up if I go ahead and. Anyway, where was I? See, it is a problem to go back and whisk it over and try to make it make sense. So you'll just have to, I hope, can piece it together. The whole thing is that my father never married Wallace Simpson. She married a double. There was more than one double. And somebody said they couldn't be sure of that. I'm sure of it. This is a decent man, my father. He didn't deserve this crap. And like heck, if I can do anything about it, I will. That his name is cleared and he's known for who he and my mom really are. I think I showed that Obama. Anyway, it's Caroline Kennedy is ambassador to Japan. I hope Japan hasn't forgotten what was done to them. The Kennedys helped do it. That's all I'm going to say. This is my Aunt Georgia O'Keeffe because I don't have any pictures of my mom. Oh, they pretty much got rid of her too, didn't they? This is Uncle George with Roosevelt and the family in a hot dog festival back in '39, and I believe I had just been born. I was born in '39. It's more about this hot dog festival and Memorial Day too, that his son, Roosevelt's son, got into. By the way, I just recently, a month or two ago, read about Eleanor Roosevelt. The things I've said in here, and I had not read this. It was an excerpt from her biography, autobiography, where it connects her to the United Nations, which came to be after they kidnapped me and took down my father, the illegal treaties that allowed it to form. Whole point was taking down the British Empire. Now that I'm going to forget, I might as well. It's too early in the morning, and I'm too tired. Anyways, a lot about the hot dog festival, Eleanor Roosevelt. In this excerpt that I saw, it also mentioned Woodrow Wilson, who I have said he lived in Stanton, Virginia. Anastasia, the real Anastasia, was murdered in 1984, May, on a Sunday, the 4th of 6th of 84. And if you ever hear the true story of it that they've deleted, you see how it pieces together, and they can't deny it, but the media won't touch it. I had court documents given to me, and nobody would touch it. And quite frankly, it was way back some years ago, and I couldn't carry it around. I don't have any money. I was putting it in didn't even have a backpack. So let me go on from there. Anyway, Eleanor's so involved. And all these people, Winston Churchill, Eisenhower, the crooked, are your global people. Oh, they have your best interest at heart. Yes, they do. Right. If you believe that, you believe it. But this is Eleanor in 41, and they say they're political enemies. Well, they're the bed brothers, sisters, biggest bunch of frauds ever walked the face of this planet. They're congratulating in 1941 the Duchess, who she's not a Duchess, she's an American spy, became married the double. And history still tells that she married my father. Can you understand why it's so irate to know the lies that have persisted? And Elizabeth has always known, and she's allowed it to go on. She's shaking hands with First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt in Washington 41, congratulating her. I'd just been kidnapped that spring. So I'm over. They got me out of the way, got my father out of the way, and so the global government. I want to mention Obama. He, a couple Christmases, I believe it was, ago, he was still president, he took little George. This is Kate and William. They're illegal, by the way. My sons Mark and Scott are heirs. Took him a brand new rocking horse. I thought it odd. Well, kind of something. My son Mark is heir after me, and here's his rocking horse. He had, so help me, you can't, it's horrifying the life they had to live. Okay, this is a picture of me when they brought me over. Hi, that's a photo of me. Well, I guess that's about all I was going to show. And this is how crime pays. She even made Snowden, gave him a Margaret, her sister. All these people are touted as being good. Oh my God. Wow. And they're loved. Oh, and my father's hated. Oh my God. And don't even know who my mom is. And anyway, this is maybe rambling to some people. What I wanted to put up was this whole thing. Martin Luther King, you're never going to hear this somewhere else. Martin Luther King partnered with JFK, Kennedy. In part of the stuff I was writing about, the reason Larry Flint was shot by a programmed shooter, one of them. I put this up on former videos about mind control. I was writing about it, about the Tesla files. And I found out much later, after they almost killed me April Fool Day of 80, about the involvement in Atlanta of the Martin Luther King Center downtown and his wife. And Andrew Young, Reverend Andrew Young, he become mayor. Jimmy Carter, who knows all about me, and I thought he was one of the good guys. He was president. He appointed Reverend Andrew Young, who was with Martin Luther King when he was shot. He wasn't part of the shooting that I know of at all. But here he is connected with the global government that came to be after they took down my father and kidnapped me, the UN. So he's mayor of Atlanta. And by the way, after that almost killed me, I was illegally taken to Huntsville. And that's another horror story. Worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, 80, that fall. And believe me, it was a miracle I lived, so it was hell trying to work and hold a job. And everything, I'd been stripped of my home and everything. And people want to go back and ask, my children were victims just the way I have been. Anyway, Reverend Young wouldn't see me. Okay, I sat out front. I went to Mrs. King. This is winter. You should see what I'm wearing. They reduced me to flip-flops in the winter and living in a shelter and walking in the cold and couldn't get a cup of coffee. So they really tied me up. Now, Andrew Young was appointed by Jimmy Carter when he was president, U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, your global government, your mafia, your Rockefellers, Rothschilds. Oh, so there is Jimmy Carter. Also, my book and two letters from FBI, some certificates, the book I wrote, and the rejection slips are where one started to take it. They removed all that from my safety deposit box. It was in Burt Lance, who was counsel and put under investigation in Jimmy Carter's counsel staff. It was removed illegally, and I had paid it. No matter what, I paid that. And for safekeeping, that's the last I ever heard of it. I have no idea where that went. The real reason for putting this up this morning, though, was the man that died from South Africa, a black man, Kofi Annan, I believe, Annan. He won a Pulitzer Prize, Peace Prize, excuse me, Nobel, okay. Well, that's a Pulitzer, excuse me if I'm not correct there. He was the first black African to lead the UN. He just died. And, I heard a statement, and this is the way the United Nations is touting this. They're your friend. This is all going to be better, and this is where your chip comes in. And I'm going to, if you, somebody else was writing about this after I was told, and this was given to me by a church. Timothy McVeigh was a program shooter. Well, not shooter, he bombed was supposed to have bombed Oklahoma City. Nichols is still in prison there. This is, okay, the one that was with him. He said the Army implanted him with a computer chip. But this fits in with the patterns that I've spoken of about people that you can prove. If you get enough of them, or just a few up there, you can prove what I'm saying. Now they say that William, it does here, may have a chip because he could be kidnapped. It was me that was kidnapped. And then my son's done in. Implantable biochips. Someone asked what in the heck I was trying to put up on video. What did I mean? Well, that's exactly it. Putting chips in people, mark of the beast, Revelations. I wasn't a biblical person that much. So when I started researching, finding out about my kidnapping, my father, and led to the United Nations being formed and illegal treaties. Project Lucid is a book that was written after I was telling this, and the church bought it, and I wish I had the rest of it, and had someone bring it up on the trail to me where I was living and said, this is part of what you're have been telling about, is Project Lucid. The global people, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds that kidnapped me, Illuminati, Freemasons, and prophetic insight needed. Well, they're talking about people in the end times, and this is it. I totally believe. I don't think this could have been a fake organization of the end times. I know a little too much to see back in the past that I don't think there's CIA or anybody, Freemasons, that could go back in genealogy and bring together what they've done. Anyway, it's programming people and taking the chip, and they control you. It's pretty much gotten that way. If you say anything about it, you're called nuts. I don't care what you put up. So I wanted to put that about, and I'm skipping around. I'm going to try to